Hey Deathslingers, welcome to Scourge of the Past raid. Compared to Last Wish, this raid is a lot shorter and the mechanics are also not as complicated. However, that doesn't mean that you won't have fun doing this raid. The only barrier for this raid is your power level. Just make sure you are 630 or above when you start. There are 4 main encounters in this raid: the Berserker part, Sparrow Racing, and the 2 boss encounters. Here in this video, we're going to talk about the first 2 encounters. Once you enter the raid, you'll be put into a section of the last city. Just like any major cities, there are buildings with streets and alleys underneath it. Any building here apart from the boundaries of the map are traversable. The shape of this encounter is basically a rectangle. In the center on top of a building is where you can find the first Berserker and a console which you can charge with an orb dropped by killing a Berserker. Apart from the console in the center, there are in total 4 other consoles scattered at the edges of the map. We orient ourselves with the tall building with the neon bunny logo as north. Starting from the north and clockwise, we have console 1 to 4. Console 1 at the north is under a tall building with a bunny logo on it. Therefore, we can call it either 1, Bunny, or Chanel. Console 2 at the east is located where a Cabal ship crashed. Therefore, it's called 2 or Cabal ship. Console 3 in the south is at the entrance to a mosque or building with domes, so we call it 3 or Dome. And finally, Console 4 is located beneath a bunch of antennas, so we either call it 4 or Radio Tower. It is important to establish key locations in this encounter so that you will be able to locate Berserkers quickly. There are 4 main vertical and 1 horizontal passage that slice through the buildings. From east to west, we have the Market Street, Main Drain, Main Road, and the Stone Bridge. We use these locations to identify and find where the Berserkers are. To move on to the next encounter, we need to charge the consoles at the edges of the map with an orb dropped by killing the Berserker. However, at the map, there is a clock that'll count down. If the timer is up, it's a wipe. Therefore, we can't just kill any Berserker. In the entire map, there will be 1 Berserker that'll drop 2 orbs, which is marked only on the map. Killing this particular Berserker will allow us not only to charge the outer consoles, but also the map console, extending the timer. On top of that, we can't just grab the orb and go charge at any console. Every time an orb is picked up by the player, it'll have a number from 1 to 5. However, only by looking at the map will you know what the number is. Depending on the number, the player will have to charge the orb to the corresponding console. 1 Bunny, 2 Cabal ship, 3 Dome, 4 Radio Tower, and 5 map. When the correct Berserker is killed, one of the 2 orbs will always be for the map. The orb itself has a timer too. Therefore, if you don't get to the console in time, your orb will explode and kill you. A tip to get to your destination in time is to jump and melee attack. That'll make your run just a little bit faster. After you pick up an orb, you'll have a cooldown before you can pick up another orb again. Therefore, we'll need to organize the team around the timer in this encounter. The way to kill a Berserker is as follows. The Berserker will initially have a shield which makes him immune. When the player gets too close to the Berserker, he'll let out a suppression field. During this time, his back and chest will start glowing orange. If you punch or shoot these 2 spots at the same time, you'll disable his shield, which allows you to kill him. Okay, with all the specific details taken care of, let's look at an example run of this encounter. Once it respawns into the encounter, we should all run to the middle to kill the very first Berserker. After map console is charged with the first orb, the encounter will start and the holographic map will appear. After a few seconds, you'll see a red triangle with a red circle floating on top of it. That's our target Berserker. 2 players will remain at the map, defending the map from ads and most important of all, servitors, which will shut down the map if they get close enough. In the meanwhile, they have to guide the others to the right Berserker. The other 4 players will go towards the Berserker, take down the Berserker shield by baiting the suppression field and destroy the 2 weak spots. The 4 players that are going for berserkers also have to be split into 2 teams of 2. The first team will pick up the 2 orbs dropped by the berserker. However, make sure you don't pick up the orbs at the same time. In order to let the map guys identify who has which orb quickly, separating the pickup time is probably the easiest. Therefore, the first person in the first team should pick up the orb, wait for the map callout. After that's done, the second person then pick up his orb. One of the orb holders will be heading toward map, and the other one will go to one of the 4 outer consoles. The second team should follow the person going to the outer consoles, since he can't defend himself. Moreover, there will be 1 to 2 servitors locking down the console which has to be killed. After the 2 orbs are slammed into the consoles, the map guys will call out where the next berserker will be. It will be a good thing if the person from the first team who slammed the orb in the map console to look where the berserker is, and in cooperation with the map guys find the berserker, while the other people are still dealing with the other console. Once the berserker is located, just wait for the remaining teammates to get there and take down the second berserker. This time, it'll be the second pair who are going to pick up the orbs and head to their respective consoles. After this, the encounter is purely rinse and repeat until the shield down to the sewers are open. Note, remember if you are not holding an orb, you can summon your sparrow to move around the map quickly. For your weapons, there will be 2 scenarios here. If you are at the map, a bow, scout, or sniper will be very handy in taking down snipers far away. Combining with any heavy should enable you to take care of the servitors and adds easily. However, try not to use a sword since the map will be locked when you can use it on the servitor. Personally, I love to use Jolten or Izanagi's Burden for this position. On the other hand, if you are down at the streets hunting down berserkers, your setup will be mid to close range. I usually run a shotgun for my special weapon. Heavy-wise, I usually go for Legend of Acrius, machine gun, or swords. I wouldn't recommend rocket launcher though, since you might kill yourself accidentally. Now let's talk about subclasses. For the map guys, Well of Radiance is probably the best. With this Warlock subclass, when your teammate is in your healing rift, you can get it back before your initial rift disappears. This will greatly improve your survivability against the snipers and the random trash mobs around you. Alright, don't complain, but that's probably the only class that really matters in this encounter. All the other supers and classes will work just fine for killing berserkers and clearing ads and servitors. With the first encounter done, you'll drop down to the sewers. You are trying to get to the middle of the sewers where you can get to the next encounter, the Sparrow Racing. The Sparrow Racing is really simple. You start the encounter by having 2 players punching 2 terminals at the same time. Once that's done, quickly summon your Sparrow and start following the path. Don't look back, there's absolutely not a fire servitor behind you trying to burn you up. Using a Sparrow with improved Assembler perk and a Ghost with the Speed Demon perk will let you summon your Sparrow quickly even if the Sparrow was somehow destroyed. Not that there is a servitor behind you that you have to move quickly. If your team is not planning to grab an extra chest in the end, you'll need at least 2 people to get to the end to punch another pair of terminals to close the door. Not that there's a servitor you want to block out. However, if your team wants the extra chest, there are 8 buttons you'll need to hit on the track. The first will be at the beginning. To hit it, instead of going up the ramp, you want to drive at the bottom. The second pair will be right after the second turning doors you meet. One will be on top of the platform after you pass through the door, and the other will be right below the platform. The fourth and fifth are in a room with a lot of pillars. One will be to the right at the edge of a cliff, while the other is close to the wall on the left. The next pair will appear at the first cavern you encounter. One is on the right wall and the other is on the left wall. The last button will be on the right wall at the second cavern. After all the buttons are hit, you'll see a text appear saying, "A door opens somewhere." When that happens, there will be a new path you can write down in the ending room. Keep going until you can ride your sparrow, start jumping upward until you enter a cave. Once you're there, a chest will spawn and that's your extra chest. Only one teammate has to reach the chest for the loot to drop for everyone. With that done, signals the end of the sparrow racing encounter. I really love the mechanics in these two encounters. It's easy but really fun, especially when your teammates are screaming at something behind them during the sparrow racing part. I really don't know what's wrong with them, but it does sound fun though. I hope you too will find a lot of enjoyment in these encounters. Run fast and don't die.